Good afternoon and welcome everybody to the second round of the I2I Motorsports Truck Series here from Phoenix. Traditionally these days the finale location of championships in the NASCAR world, at least they have been for the last few years, last 6 seasons in a row. But in our season this is only round 2 of 9, which stretches all the way to the start of February and brings us in loads of different racetracks around the world. This is the around America, I should say. This is the Rattler 55 here from Phoenix. 55 laps at this just about a mile long raceway that can be just about called a short track. I think justifiably so as well. With its mile-long length. It's myself, Ian O'Leary, and Aidan Howard with you in commentary again here tonight for this broadcast on MotorMouth Broadcasting. Hope you'll enjoy the show, and we come on the back, Aidan, of a really great race at the Chicagoland Speedway between Braden Craycraft and Johnny Suggs in particular, but between everybody mainly. There was relatively few cautions. It was clean racing pretty much all the way, and the gap at the line was just 1/100th of a second between Craycraft and Suggs in a brilliant fight to the line between those two. We absolutely were, and hopefully will continue to be over the course of this season as well. Let's tell you a little bit about the schedule that we've got coming up for you here this season. 3 different types of racetrack in the first 3 weeks. The Chicagoland, a sort of more open intermediate racetrack, a short track here at Phoenix, the first of 2. And the Super Speedway, the first of the season, next week at Daytona, which is the last round before Christmas on the 13th of December. So mark that one up in your calendars for the last race before Christmas, because we won't be here over the break. Instead, we'll be returning on the 3rd of January from Auto Club Speedway, another intermediate, and then the final sort of circuit type, if you like, a road course at Watkins Glen, the only road course before Charlotte, Pocono, Martinsville and Homestead round out the season. A very well balanced schedule. I like the first 3 rounds in particular having sort of 3 different types of circuit within them. Yes, this is a sort of intermediate, off the back of an intermediate race. This is a short track race and Super Speedway next. So I have a feeling after the first 3 rounds especially, we're going to have a very good idea who's going to be at the top by the end of the season, because we'll have seen all the different drivers on all the different characteristics of racetrack, with the sort of outlier of the road course later on, which is a one-off. Indeed, and we've already had a little bit of one of those from Thanksgiving. What was Thanksgiving last week? We didn't really have a break, did we, for Thanksgiving? I can't remember now. Oh, they're frying anything. Yes. Yeah, only a few seconds away. A couple of us in YouTube chat saying they can't hear you, so just double check your the things at the moment. I can hear myself on the stream, but I don't think I can hear you either on there, so just double check all that behind the scenes before we carry on. But yeah, qualifying is about to get underway in a sec after practice has drawn to a close, which it will do in a few moments. Perhaps the surprising thing from this practice session, and maybe we can't read into it too much because he's only done 23 laps, which is the least of anybody in this session, but Johnny Suggs down in 6th place for the driver who only just missed out on a race victory last week, 100th of a second behind Braden Craycraft. They were bouncing off each other, dooring one another right the way to the line. It was a fantastically entertaining finish at Chicagoland. But to see Suggs down in 6th place in practice, it won't be a massive concern because he's within a tenth of the best time of Braden Craycraft and he's done the least amount of laps. But something just worth pointing out as a slight surprise. Okay. We'll keep trying to get you your mic on the air, otherwise I'll be on my own. I can hear myself when I watch the stream, so I hope that everyone else can hear me as well.
I'm going to try again now.
Okay.
We are back. That's fine. No, all good.
Good.
Just a very silly setting on OBS. Good evening, everyone, for everything that you didn't hear me say. It's a wonderful evening, and it's going to be a fantastic race coming up, especially with the last couple of races before the festive break, as Ewan did manage to point out as well. Qualifying is now underway, as the cars, I believe, are now taking to the circuit.
Yeah, so who's going to be out there first? Caleb Ross will be first, and absolutely flew out the gates as far as qualifying is concerned here. First lap's going to be over in a minute. Well, not a minute, literally. This whole qualifying run is less than a minute. But Caleb Ross will come through 3 and 4 in a moment. Of course, newly 3 and 4. How long we can say newly 3 and 4, because it has been changed for a little while, so they've swapped ends in NASCAR. First lap time will be a 27.4 from Caleb Ross. Not bad, but he'll want to be about half a second quicker than that if he wants to go top of this session, which I'm sure he will do by the end of it. Through 1 and 2, a very flat 1 and 2 there, where you can really drive and use the tarmac there on the apron there, which really does create exciting racing, especially if there's late restarts. Caleb Ross will come out of turn 4 now and up towards the line, just about kiss the wall, but that'll be the end of his session. Lap number 2 completed, and it's going to be a 27.1. Best lap from him so far. Chris Hone with a 27.3 is currently in 2nd place and is coming up towards the end of his session right now as well. Does he set? No, he doesn't go any quicker, so he will stay 3rd, and maybe that'll be it. Corey Kofer's already up to 2nd place. A very good start in qualifying for him. Daniel Wing will displace him as he moves to the top as well here. So good times coming in from these guys. Corey Kofer's will be next over the line to complete his session as far as those who might be able to challenge the top times are concerned. Daniel Wing as well. He's currently on the top of this session. Kofer's comes over the line and doesn't improve at all. Doesn't get a lap time in second time round. But what about Wing? Does he further extend his advantage over the rest of the field? He does. A 27.0 for the likes of Suggs to beat. Craycraft hasn't been out there at all yet.
No, not at all. We'll keep an eye on some of these laps that are coming in. Johnny Suggs also just starting a lap as well. He has not yet set a lap time on the board as of yet, but the folks like Sarah and Craycraft yet to set a lap time.
Yep, he is going to make his way out now, though. He's on his out lap now as Johnny Suggs will set his first lap time of the day. This is his 2nd lap, so he's clearly got the first one wrong. And he needs to get this one right, and he needs to get it up towards the front. What is it going to be? 2nd. He's on the front row, at least for now. Only Michael D'Adamo, who topped practice, I think, if I remember correctly. He was certainly up there. And Braden Craycraft still to come. Craycraft begins his first lap. As D'Adamo ends his first, he goes up to 5th place. So a couple of big important times coming up here in quite an exciting qualifying session, I've got to say.
Times are especially close, as we've seen previously as well. Let's have our top. Wow, they're all in 27s, but the top 4 all within 0.1 of a second of each other. That is a nose cone at best.
Well, look at Craycraft already. He's gone to the top. D'Adamo did improve to 4th, but Craycraft has gone quicker than the rest. The only driver to go in the 26s, and he is frankly on an exhibition for this 2nd lap. Everybody else has done their times other than Cameron Sarro, who doesn't seem to have done at all and won't have time to now. But Craycraft comes over the line And this is not going to be a faster time. It's a complete exhibition. Oh, it is faster, sorry. He didn't even use all the space up next to the wall. But he's still quicker than the rest. And he's on pole by a big, big margin there.
Another driver not to set a lap, who is now setting a lap, or at least about to start a flying lap, is Cameron Sarrow. All the way down low in 14th at the minute. And he's about to start his first actually this is his first flying lap, and he does come a set of time, and it's not valid.
I don't think that was a time. I think that was an out lap that he's coming to the end
Oh
of there.
goodness, right, that's fair enough. So he's starting now. He is now on a lap. Doesn't look to be using up all the road though. Doesn't get right up to the wall, so maybe just still trying to sort out his tyres as we unfortunately do lose him. Time is up, so he's been caught out by the 5 minutes, and yes, that is that. It doesn't take a
Not
long
sure
time.
what that was all about, really,
No.
for him. I mean, he was waiting for the end of the session, and I do get that, to be fair. You do want to know what you're aiming at, I suppose, at the end of the day, but that was not a good bit of timing there at all. As we look at the starting grid, ready for this race, round 2 with the I2I Motorsports Craftsman Truck Series. It's Braden Craycraft who takes pole by a big margin. 1/6 of a second is huge around a circuit like this. Daniel Wing on the front row with him. Johnny Suggs and Michael Danamo are then on row 2 ahead of Caleb Ross and Corey Coulfers. Jonathan Herbert are on the inside of row 4 ahead of Jason Reeves. Chris Hone and Joshua Whitmire round out the top 10. All-American top 11 here with Trey Graber. James Tate, the first non-American, in 12th, ahead of Trevor Thomas and Cameron Sarrow, who puzzlingly didn't set a lap time there at all. So, don't know what's going on with him. He's got some work to do in this race, but he's got 55 laps to do it, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but there's going to be a lot happening in this race, and so you'd imagine there will be a lot of chances for him to make the overtakes.
Yeah, watch this space. As I said, not quite sure what he was doing, and maybe potentially getting caught out by the fact that he couldn't finish a lap on 5 minutes, but surely he would know that. Surely he would know as soon as it hits 5 minutes and qualifying finishes. So, yeah, maybe just having issues that we're just not aware of.
Yeah, not sure. It may have been something he was trying to sort out, and he couldn't really get out there before 4 minutes gone in the session, which is too late. So maybe that's the story there. But anyway, the pace truck's going to pull down on pit lane, and we're going to be ready to go for 55 laps at Phoenix, with Braden Craycraft on the pole here tonight. He scored the full 40 points from race 1 after winning that thriller alongside Johnny Suggs by just 1/100th of a second. Are we going to see a similarly close finish tonight here at Phoenix as he comes through 3 and 4 and brings us to the green? Round 2 in the I2I Motorsports Craftsman Truck Championship is underway from Phoenix. Oh, trouble off of 2 and contact as the 15 car gets T-boned by the 14, and it's Johnny Suggs, second last week, who spins on lap 1.
That is dead unfortunate. Let's see what happened in the replay there. It looks like he may have just lost it. Yeah, just on his own. They were just darting onto the apron. On the background, 23 clouts the wall in sympathy as well. But yeah, nothing there really untoward apart from maybe just dipping a couple of wheels on that inside apron and just unsettled the car.
Yeah, Chris Home was the one who got into the side of him, so those two are going to have damage to repair in the next couple of moments. Caution didn't actually come out until he span the other way, right the way round, and eventually brought out the caution.
He has got going. Chris...
Yeah, and he's going to come in here.
Yeah.
So use his fast repair, I guess, to see how bad the damage is for these three, who, as you said, one clonked the wall, the other two got into each other, and so 3 out the 14 coming in, but nobody else bothering coming in since we didn't even complete a lap under green there. Wow, I haven't got a stutter. 55 laps is the fuel limit here, by the way. It's also the amount of race laps, so should be fine in terms of fuel tonight with the caution already that we're going to get, and indeed any future ones that we do get. The question is going to be tyres, really, and when do you want those? Not after half a lap, but when in the future are they going to want them? I wonder. We'll find out over the next 50 laps or so.
Yeah, absolutely. The fuel should be fine. Now we've got this caution, I could just cruise it, whack it in neutral, maybe just coast a little bit, save the fuel. The question is, will people stop for tyres, or when will they stop for tyres, there's bound to be, I don't want to jinx it, I'm going to say there's a probability of another caution period at some point. We don't like to see it, because it means someone's crashed, but there is that possibility.
Yeah, there is. There definitely is, and you know, that will change this race when it does arrive for whoever it is. 35 and 44 seconds for Suggs and Hones. So either they are trying to avoid using their fast repair, or that was all they needed to repair their cars. Hones still on pit lane though. Oh, I don't think he's got out in time. I think Hone is still on pit lane, is he? No, he's just about stuck it. So I forget these days that the pit lane goes a long way, doesn't it, around the bend, and
it does.
That you actually exit pit lane now almost into the dog leg, whereas before you got out straight out of what used to be turn 2. Pit lane's a little bit longer these days, curves around the corner, and so he's gotten away with that on that occasion. But pace lights are off, and we'll be under green again in a moment. We'll see whether Craycraft can restart like he did last time.
Yep. Did it well first time, and then unfortunately for Suggs, that was just self-harm more than anything like that. I don't think he'll be gutted at that mistake. It just darted on the inside of the apron. It's about to go green once more.
We are indeed. Drivers racing up to the back, including Hone. We'll get back into the fray again. With 14 cars still in the race. All of those who had trouble to bring out that caution. Joshua Whitmire, Johnny Suggs and Chris Hone all back in the game. Let's try again, shall we? 4 laps into the 55-lap race here at Phoenix in the Rattler 55. We're back under green here in Arizona.
Good start from everyone. A couple of cars darting down onto that apron to try and get a little bit of a gap out of the head. You can drop down to apron without penalty. You have to be careful though, as that's unsettled the car. However, it is Craycraft leads away from Ross Wing Herbert. Dadamo, Corpus Jr. and Reeves, as that is a car getting into the wall, scraping along the wall, but gets away with it. That's car 6 of Herbert.
Wing and Ross side by side for second, off of 4. And look at Jonathan Herbert getting closer to these guys anyway. And with his contact with the wall, he's looking to make it 3 wide maybe in the 6 hit. Close as Daniel Wing takes the higher line through 1 and 2. And he consolidates second place rather nicely there.
That's indeed another scrape from the wall for that 6 car. Gets away with it though, keeps it pointing in the right direction, flirting with the wall here this evening.
Yeah, just a little bit, but that's what happens at this circuit. Craycraft controlling this race though. Further behind, Johnny Suggs is up to 10th place since the restart here. That's up 3 on the restart, and it's going to hope for a whole lot more than that, but there's plenty of time left in this race, so he's just going to pick these guys off one by one. Now looking to the outside of Joshua Whitmire, who was also coming through the field after the caution. These two were both in pit lane under that yellow. Oh, and Suggs gets his nose chopped off through the dog leg.
Yep, he's not going to be best pleased with that. Has to immediately back out. That was a millimetre from contact, and that could have been much more worse than both. They could have been back in the pits once more.
Sure you don't get into contact for a second time tonight. If you used your fast repair once already, then that is it. No more. And we do see retirements on the basis of that as well, fairly regularly. I think the only retirement really, though. Oh, and Suggs spins the 23 car, and he also goes into his own spin. Caution will be out on the racetrack. Suggs and Whitmire make contact, and Suggs goes back to pit lane. That is not good news for Joey Suggs. He might be out of the day.
That was 2 into 1, doesn't go. Happened a couple of laps ago, but it was just the fact that at the end they were pushing each other, trying to make some positions, but unfortunately it just very much looked like it was unavoidable contact. Let's have a replay and have a look. Down goes 23 under 15.
Yeah, I think Whitmire should have seen what Suggs was doing. I mean, it happened nearly the lap previous. We said that, you know, Suggs had his nose chopped off, and Whitmire unfortunately did exactly the same thing again there, and Suggs was there alongside. Whitmire pulled down on him and should have accounted, I think, in my opinion, for the driver who was on his inside there.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to try and get a better view of Josh Whitmire as we go on board. I think it's probably better to go to Suggs. Yeah, Suggs just turns in. Well, Suggs just turns in on, should I say. Let's look from Suggs' point of view. way through, yeah. Just turns down. I don't think.
Line there.
Yeah, it's a difficult one.
That's a shame because he was just running a line really, and Whitmire just comes down on him there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Not many pit stops this time round. Daniel Wing, the only one from the front guys to come in, and also Chris Hone and Trevor Thomas are in. Johnny Suggs been in there for 90 seconds already, and I can imagine isn't very pleased with Joshua Whitmire at the moment. If he had used his faster pair already, then he'll be especially unpleased, but he's already over 2 laps down, so I'd imagine his chances tonight have already evaporated.
Yep, and after this, especially if he's towed back to pits, that's going to put him a lap down at the very least, potentially more. That's just going to be a write-off race for Johnny, as the field covered back up. Chris Hone also still in the pits. Actually, Chris Hone's just about to leave the pits and will be able to get onto the back of the field. But yeah, I feel for Johnny.
Yeah, very much so. Out of this race, down in 14th place, you would imagine. One of only 5 drivers to have come down pit lane already as well, which suggests it's amongst drivers only who've had things go wrong for them so far tonight, with the exception of Daniel Wing, who's now down to 11th as a result of that most recent stop. Still seems that Chris Hone is trying to get that car repaired without actually using his faster pair, because I can still see a bit more of that front right tyre than I maybe should do.
It does
suggest
yeah.
there maybe is a bit more bodywork damage on there.
Does look a little bit second-hand, doesn't it?
Just a little bit.
We'll hopefully see him, well, if he's already used his fast repair. I don't think he has, but maybe just elect him to not use fast repair, maybe holding on to it in case there is a big incident. But safety car is now in, folks, and again, we're about to go green once more.
Only 5 cars running up on the outside, couple of cars with penalties and all sorts down the back of the field, tail of the longest line. And again, it's up to Braden Craycraft to bring them to the green. Herbert alongside him this time, having made up 5 places so far. We'll make that 4 because Caleb Ross gets straight past him as we're back under green with 42 to go.
Indeed we are. It's a good start for most. I can't see anything. Oh, there's a car spinning in the background. It's car number 9 making contact with the wall. Stays green, but was definitely sideways, turning this truck into a bit of a drift car going through the final turn, and it allows the race to stay green.
Yeah, just about. That was a proper drift through turns 1 and 2 there. Not sure for who actually it was in the end, but they all saved it and get away with it here. Herbert now on the back of Curry Culfers, who's got past him as well actually for 3rd position. Side by side meantime between Trey Graber and Daniel Wing as well, who's on those perhaps newer tyres as well, although the old tyres haven't done very many laps on them. Daniel Wing will get through in the 9 car, and they all dive to the dog leg again. Wing tearing up to the back of these leaders now.
Yeah, absolutely. Using those fresher tyres whilst when they stop, then will try and carve through the field as they continue to battle up ahead as well.
This is the 82 in second place rather, recently passed Caleb Ross and cuts in front of the 27 as well, making sure that Caleb can't get to the inside of Corey Culfers Jr. And again, in the background, here comes Jonathan Herbert and Jason Reeves, side by side through 1 and 2. As well with Daniel Wing being brought in behind. Oh, and a spin for Daniel Wing! He spins off of turn 2. And he does not bring out the caution somehow. I'm not really sure how we've got away with that.
Neither am I. That was very... If he made contact with the pit wall, I think we would have seen a caution, but we'll go back to replay, see how that happened. And again, like other instances, going out onto the start finish straight. Too much right foot, quite potentially, and it is just himself and them as the cause of that unfortunate incident.
I'm not sure how that hasn't caused a caution, to be honest with you, but there you go. We stay green here at Phoenix. And Daniel Wing's new tyres suddenly not looking like such a great call. They're stuck in the midfield, and at the moment he can't seem to work his way forward, at least that spin disrupting his progress anyway. Johnny Suggs, by the way, back out onto the racetrack again, so had to tow back to pit lane, but 4 laps down, and he's still in the race. He probably needs 4 cautions, though, at least, to get the free passages all the way around to get back onto lead lap, which is a pretty tough ask, really.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to be wanting a bit of a miracle here to try and at least get back on the lead lap so he can start fighting for positions. But yeah, absolutely. 2 good 4 laps down, actually, if I'm reading my timing screen correctly. So he will need a good few cautions to unlap, but you never know. Still green at the moment. We have had a couple of yellows, and there's 35 laps to go. Anything can happen.
Certainly can. Jonathan Herbert has been pretty exciting to watch on these restarts, but settling into a longer green flag run now, the longest of the day so far. Not quite able to stay as close to Corey Colfers or Caleb Ross in second or third. Jason Reeves, Michael D'Adamo and Troy Gruber are mixed in line. There they all are. Herbert looks to the inside here on Michael D'Adamo and might get through into 6th position. Good start from Trey as well. Got 5 positions. Well, it would be 5 if he's able to just see off Michael D'Adamo. That would be good news for him to do so as well. But no, D'Adamo still holding tough on the outside line, and Trey is now able to just cut across a little bit, and he's able to get through into 6th, but that's a bit wide. D'Adamo cuts underneath him. He'll come straight back past again in a never-ending battle for 6th place between these two at the moment.
They're very certainly tit for tat, aren't they? As hit the phrases as they exchange positions and swap that 6th and 7th position like a hot potato. However, I think Trey is going to keep hold of that 6th position now, and if he can get those colours, he does indeed. But goes wide, and I'm going to eat my words completely and just forget whatever I said. So fighting once more.
Yeah, they're still going. Approaching half distance in this race already, by the way, in this green flag run, and finally Graber might be able to take this one a bit more decisively. Runs it in hard to 1 and 2, and he does get 6th position. So finally a good pass. It's long-winded, of course, but a good pass in the end. Chris Hone and Joshua Whitmire in the background are also fighting side by side. The gaps out front have gotten a bit bigger, but Whitmire down the inside for 8th, and he gets through on Chris Hone, who drops to 9th now, exactly where he started in this race. James Tate is next, and then it's Daniel Wing, who's 5 seconds further behind, so at least up a couple of places after his spin earlier. Trevor Thomas gets past Cameron Sarro as well, down in 12th and 13th, but clean racing all the way through here in the longest green flag run of the night so far.
Indeed, as we jump to that battle, as you mentioned, 12th and 13th, car 9 car 29, should I say, of Cameron Sarro tried to go back down to the inside, was promptly blocked by the 95, and that's just helped that gap out just a little bit. We're all spread out now. We really, as much as I said earlier on, don't like having horses. It means someone's had an incident, they're going to drop down the order, but the field is a little bit spread out now, and things are starting to calm down somewhat.
Absolutely. Jason Reeves overtaken by Trey Graber, who's on the march up into the top 5 now in the 20 truck. Good pass down the inside at 3 and 4 to move ahead of Reeves. Michael D'Adamo will close in behind as well here in the cream coloured car, I guess you'd say. Beige, cream, don't know. But 7th place for D'Adamo in car 88, and it's all just getting a little bit closer after a few moments of spreading out. Actually, from 5th place on backwards, it's just a little bit closer now. These are the ebbs and flows of a long green flag run.
Yeah, absolutely. As all diving for the apron once more, it astounds me that the cars don't get unsettled as they dart down onto a flat surface and back up onto a banking, but they can make it work. As in the background, Jacob Rees now actually under threat from D'Adamo, and also that is a car. It's a lap car behind him as well, I do believe, car 23. And in the background, Johnny Suggs rejoining, clipping the wall as well, having his own little race there as well. Actually at 23 is for position. It's Whitmore looking to try and make a move of these guys as they fight away as well.
Yes, so there's a few fighting for position, and there's Suggs who's trying to, I think, sort of stay out of it, but also run his own race here in a way as well. And yeah, that's a difficult balancing act to make. He's really hoping for cautions, but we're almost getting to a stage now with only 25 laps to go where there's very unlikely to be the amount of cautions that he needs to get onto the lead lap again here. So it's just running for points as things stand.
Yeah, it's painful for Suggs. He's got the pace to get past these guys. He's holding up onto them, but it's just the fact that he's a few laps down. It's salt to the wound more than anything, but he'll stick with it and we'll see what he can do. Maybe we'll try and unlap himself if these guys do have a bit of a break in battle, but yeah, again, just playing the empathy card there a little bit for Suggs.
He'll hang around at the back for now. He doesn't want to get in the middle of a big group like this. Still running that line where he doesn't use the dog leg at all. Of course, it's what undid him when battling with Whitmire, although I do think Joshua Whitmire should have taken maybe a bit more care with what was going on below him there. Suggs has been running that line again and again, which maybe is putting him in danger when he's running side by side. We'll see what he does here when he's on the inside of Whitmire again. Oh, and Danamo had to avoid into the wall through 3 and 4. Just taking some avoiding action. Suggs though straight through on Whitmire. He doesn't want to get up to Whitmire and cause him any trouble here, despite the fact they made contact earlier on. He just wants to get through and run his own race by the looks of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I did see, you're very right. Just thought to myself, hold on a minute. These are the guys that came together down our dog leg. I'm thinking, oh please, just avoid one another, please. That'll be a conversation to have after the race, and I'm sure these guys will hash it out a little bit after the race, but all will be well, I'm sure, after a good heated discussion and a drink as well, perhaps.
Yeah, they will hash it out later. We'll wait and see. For now, Suggs is trying to get some laps back, and he's about 6 seconds more than away from doing so, with Braden Craycraft leading the way. And you get the feeling this might be a trend this season, to be fair. You get the feeling that Craycraft is going to find this season difficult unless Johnny Suggs has issues like he has here tonight. And it may not be such a great fight for the lead, but got to remember, yes, it was a late restart, but there were a number of drivers within a second of the winner last time out. Tyler Miller unfortunately not able to be here tonight, but Jason Reeves and Corey Coulford, who are both in this race here, were both within a second of Craycraft, the eventual winner as well. So surprised that they're not showing more speed and more challenge to Craycraft at the moment, who's leading by more than 2 seconds.
Yep, indeed. Oh, move up the inside potentially for Danamo. Leaves Whitmore having to think about placing his car. They both go back down to the apron, and it's a little nibble there from the 88 car.
Just a little bit, but this is rather regaining places for Michael Danamo, which is obviously not ideal, but these are the positions he's lost throughout the race so far. And these are some of the drivers who've taken them off him. Jonathan Herbert and Trey Graber, who's again moving through the field. 5th position as things stand, moving through and onto the back of the 6th car in front of Jonathan Herbert. And this battle for 4th position, this has been such a great run from Trey Graber. He clearly got long run speed in abundance compared to some of the others in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. He's sticking it out there. He's trying to make these tyres last. The fuel tank will definitely last, but it's a question of whether these guys do want another caution period if they can get into the pits with new tyres. It's going to be a tricky one, and he's balancing it out relatively well with the fact that it is a very early caution period and long green flag running. But yeah, nice little battle there for 4th for sure. As fortunately, I say that Herbert's dropped off a little bit, unfortunately. So they'll re-engage in battle very shortly, I'm sure. But yes, good on both of them for holding it out there.
Absolutely. Herbert just dismissing those attacks in the last few moments and getting on with it in 4th. Further behind that group from 6th place on backwards, still the closest in the field. Daniel Wing still trying to regain some of the places after his spin earlier that I still can't believe didn't cause a caution, and he maybe can't believe it either. He's on the outside now of James Tate coming into turns 3 and 4. Goes pretty high, sort of through the middle, and that's a good line there from Wing. You see the way the car was just pinned down to the road. That was a good line, and he's even got a run on the 14 car as a result of this as well. Nearly 3 wide towards 1 and 2. He'll go even further to the outside now, trying to pass Chris Hone right round the outside of 1 and 2, and he will get through. Nicely done. As in front, Jason Reeves come in under green.
That's interesting. Maybe having enough of the tyres and thinking I can't keep it on circuit, let's get some fresh rubber under me and hope for the best, and maybe there'll be another safety car. However, the free field is now very much spread out, and the only closest battle which we have is this battle here with Tate and the 14 of Chris Hone. Everyone else is spread out completely, all running their own race. So it might be a bit of a gamble there for Reeves.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like this gamble at all, really, because yes, you might be hoping for a caution later, but if a caution comes out now, he'll be trapped a couple of laps down. So that's no good, really. His pit stop is going to be long, just about 15 seconds, not too long in the end, slightly longer than Cameron Saro's, who was also employed this strategy, but they'll be trapped laps down, and that's never ideal in a race like this. Just 15 to go, and based on the fuel calculation we were given earlier, by the way, they shouldn't have to pit either for fuel. So that would be the thing here, really. I mean, I really enjoyed the fact we had green flag pit stops properly at Chicagoland, but that was because we had to stop before the end of the race. Otherwise, they were going to run out of fuel. This is a less fuel-burning circuit because it's slower speed and it's a short track and so on. And so, under the same restrictions, you don't need to stop to make it to the end here at Phoenix, especially with a couple of cautions like we've had already. It's only tyres that you need to worry about, but if it's only tyres, then you never come under green in a race like this, in my opinion. No, absolutely not.
We said at the start, we said, did see in the Discord for these guys that it is 55 laps and the tanks can do 55 laps, so one caution period is sufficient enough to save the fuel needed. It is just that question of the four corners of the car, and if you want a new pair of wellies on them, let's say.
Indeed. Well, it is beneficial. I'm not saying it's not, because we're over a second off in terms of drop off already here, and that's only about 40 laps of green flag running here. However, even so, it's not worth the time lost, I don't think. This is James Tate on the back of Chris Hone again, who might be ruining the fact he didn't take his faster pairs earlier. Maybe he did, and we're misreading this at the moment, but I don't think he did. He's pitted for quite long periods under both cautions so far to try and get as much repaired as possible, just in case he had a worse crash later. And of course, you never know whether you're going to have a worse crash later or not. However, with hindsight, it's turned out, I think, to be the wrong decision for Chris Hone tonight.
I see. It's a case of you have a crystal ball, if you can call yourself a fortune teller, then you're absolutely fine. You're going to win every race. But yeah, it's just not worked. And he's found himself down in this position. Which is a shame, really, because if he had a safety car, he could start fighting once more. But up ahead, is that Dadimo trying to get past a wing again? It is, as Dadimo goes to the other side in the number 9 car. Which I will take to the apron, taking that very much the inside line as he goes to the dogleg, but the outside line for number 9 manages to keep him ahead. So Wing survives to fight another day.
Yeah, I'd imagine he will.
Oh, wobble.
Very big wobble. I was going to say, I'd imagine he will do Daniel Wing there, actually, because he is on newer tyres compared to the rest. He pitted under the caution at lap 10, and again had a spin out of 2, which maybe didn't do wonders for his rear tyres, but even so, he should have fresher tyres than Dadimo, especially if you're leaning on those fronts, which will certainly be fresher than car 88's. They're all slowing down now, though, in terms of tyre drop-off, 1.2 seconds slower than the best for the likes of Craig Crafton, Coulfers and Caleb Ross as well. Caleb Ross keeping a more even speed, actually, but still losing time to the race leader. And 2.5 seconds behind Corey Coulfers as well. As we're into the final 10 laps here, it's the period of the race where Braden Craigcraft is praying that it's going to be a long green flag run to the finish, much like what we saw for the middle point of Chicagoland. We didn't quite get the massive long run to the end of the actual race because we had a late race caution, but we might well do here, and that's what our race leader's hoping for.
Yep, absolutely. To go back down to the battle of Tate on the back of Hone here, as these guys are going to continue fighting a lot more closer than they once were. And down to the dog in the background, that is, I believe, a lapped car, number 75. It's
Reeves.
Yeah, indeed, trying to figure out what he wants to do.
Well, on newer tyres, you don't want to interrupt these guys really, but you do want to get past, because it's very frustrating to sit behind these guys on old tyres when you know what yours can do, and he'll just run right round them through 3 and 4 and onto the dog leg. So Tate will now try and use that to get past Hone, but hasn't quite been able to on this occasion. It is always a sort of an opening, isn't it, when a faster car comes through. Maybe he's going to create one of his own. Round the outside through 1 and 2, up on the high side for James Tate, and he just about kisses the wall. That was just about perfect. Now he takes his own racing line into 3 and 4. Nicely done, James Tate. Not sure whether we can chalk that down as a lapped car intervention or not. Not Reed's fault if it was, just saying it's well used by James Tate, but I think that was a byproduct really of a great move that he made there.
Opportunistic is my fancy word for this evening. That's all you're going to get out of me at 10 to 2 a.m. in the UK time, but for these guys it's evening. But a good move. I think that's very opportunistic for them, for trying to follow through the fast car on fresher tyres on lapping, and that's just position is a position, and I'm sure the Canadian will be quite pleased with that.
Absolutely, the only non-American in the field, if our flags are to be believed, which I would say they are. They're mostly right. James Tate up to 9th place in the meantime, and Trey Grober with just a couple of seconds of drop-off towards the end here. He's feeling the most severe drop-off actually, which maybe is a legacy of going out a bit too hard tonight. He's down in 6th place now with Joshua Whitmire getting past. He does have a fresh set of tyres on, although only half a lap of green flag racing fresher. He came in under caution number 1, so back into the top 5, but considering he started 10th, a top 5 finish would be a very impressive one indeed.
Yeah, he'll be quite pleased with that, I'm sure. As what's happened? A change of position. Danima's got past a win for 7th position.
And Wing trying to get straight back through. I think generally Wing is trying to get past Dadamo, but maybe it is the other way around actually. 88 getting past Daniel Wing, because he is now only 3 positions down on where he qualified, which was on the 2nd row of the grid. 1.5 laps to go though for Braden Craycraft, who is praying for no caution in the next half lap. Be a very long run to the end of the race, but that's what he's praying for here. If not, it'll be a green-white checkered attempt.
Yep, absolutely. There's a car 88 trying to dive to this. I cut off the nose of Wing, but we will say is almost going to be race to win as the leader. Craycraft is on the final lap.
He is. Brendan Craycraft has dominated tonight. It was a very close race at the Tropicana 75 last week, but in the Rattler 55 presented by Depend at Phoenix, it's been dominant from Braden Craycraft. Out of turn 4, and the 3 truck, Braden Craycraft, wins in Phoenix, Arizona.
Fantastic performance. Cars coming across the line. It'll be Corfers, Ross, 2nd and 3rd on podium. We're going to jump back down to Tate. So this battle's not done yet, as Tate is going to try and get past Wang. Wang's dropped off this battle and just about sees the checkered flag in 9th position.
Only just. Gap less than a 10th and a half at the end of the race there. You're right, Wing was really starting to fall off a cliff there, despite having one of the fresher sets of tyres in the whole field there. But he ends up 8th at the end tonight, only just hanging on from James Tate. As we have a look at Braden Craycraft, who's on his way to do some donuts here tonight at the end of a great win here at Phoenix. 2 out of 2 for him. He won by only 100th of a second last week. He's won by just over 4 seconds here this week. Let's have a look at the race results while he's doing a bit of a donut. And Braden Craycraft celebrating yet another victory in this series. As I say, this time by 4 seconds in the end. A pole lights to flag victory effectively in this race tonight. Corey Corfers Jr. finishes in 2nd place at a Caleb Ross, who's in the top 3. Bit of a gap then back to Jonathan Herbert, who finishes 4th, at a Joshua Whitmire rounding out the top 5. Trey Grover maybe went a bit too hard on his tyres and so finishes down in 6th, with Michael Danamo getting past Daniel Wing at the end. Wing only just hanging on from James Tate. Chris Hone rounded out the top 10, with Trevor Thomas and Jason Reeves both 1 lap down. Cameron Saro 2 down, and Johnny Suggs 4 down, all of whom getting to the end of the race tonight. Let's have a chat to Braden Craycraft, shall we, at the end of the race at Phoenix tonight. And Braden, congratulations, 2 in 2 in the last 2 weeks for you in I2I Truck Series competition. This one a little bit more comfortable than the last, which was only 100th of a second. This one over 4. How was that race for you generally? You look pretty comfortable out there.
Yeah, not too much went into it. I was just kind of wanting to stay on my line, make sure I wasn't overdriving the truck. It's really easy to get loose, like you saw with Johnny on lap 1, just loses the rear and the truck kind of gets away from you a little bit. So I was kind of going easy at the beginning, trying to keep it under me, and it just kind of fell into place after that.
Just talk to us about how difficult that is to do around here, though, because you make it sound easy, but this is 55 laps, or that last green flag run, of course, is about just over 40 laps of running effectively the same line every time. And we saw, as you say, on that start of the race, it was difficult, especially coming off of the corners, to just modulate the throttle and make sure you didn't spin out, as we saw out of turn 2 on a couple of occasions.
Yeah, it's definitely not as easy as it is to talk about it, but yeah, the tires are really cold at the start, and turns 1 and 2 is just so flat. So if you just give it a little bit of throttle, it can really get away from you. And the trucks are really loose as it is, so it doesn't take very much compared to the next gens and Xfinity cars to lose the rear end like that. And it takes a couple laps to even get the tires brought in, but once they're brought in, it's not too bad. And once the tires wore a little bit, I started moving around a little bit, trying to keep it, under me and stuff, and it just worked out for me.
Well, congratulations on taking 2 and 2 to start this season in the trucks, and thanks for chatting to us at the end tonight as well.
Yep, thank you guys.
Thanks so much. Brendan Craycraft, winner tonight at Phoenix in the Rattler 55. Chat to Trey Graber as well, who finishes in 6th place tonight, gaining 5 places on qualifying. Trey, welcome in. Congrats on a 6th place finish for you tonight here at Phoenix, but losing a place or two just at the very end. What was going on there out on the circuit? Do you feel like you were maybe a little bit too hard on the tyres early and paid for that later, or am I rewriting history a little bit there? What was going on inside the truck?
No, it was a little bit of that. I remember going over the radio to the guys and saying, man, I really want to pit, but the amount of time I would have gained and the amount of laps that were left, there was just no way to pit and make it up. So yeah, just a little bit too tough on the tires. But I mean, I'll take a 6th place finish. It was really fun this week. Towards the beginning of the week, I was kind of leading the standings and times, but everybody kind of figured out my secret sauce of Phoenix and took it over. But yeah, it was fun. I'll take a 6th place finish. Good points day for sure, but we'll see how Daytona goes.
Yeah, very interesting to see how Daytona goes as well. How are you sort of pleased with the league so far? I've had a couple of rounds and first three circuits are on completely different tracks as well, an intermediate, a short track, and a super speedway to start the season as well, and then we're off for Christmas. So how pleased are you with the way that we've started so far?
Pretty pleased. Definitely to me the big thing was just cleaning up things, and getting guys to be able to drive around each other, and be able to keep it clean. So that's been a lot of fun these last few weeks. But definitely just the camaraderie that's being built with these guys right now is really fun. So excited to see how Daytona shifts that. I know being a super speedway, things can get heated pretty quick. But I think we got a great group of guys that we can give each other space. There's a lot of communication happening both in the Discord and over the radio. So I think this week's practice will be a lot of fun, and we'll get a good glimpse of how things look come next Saturday at Daytona.
Looking forward to next Saturday night as always for Daytona. Thanks for chatting to us at the end tonight, Trey, and we'll see you next week at Daytona.
See you guys next week.
Thanks very much. Trey Graber, 6th place tonight at Phoenix in the Rattler 55 in Arizona. Aidan, it was another good round of the series. Less close this time round. Craycraft and Suggs got it off to an unbelievable start last week. That was never going to be kept up, and Craycraft made it look easy tonight. And it sounded like when he was chatting to us there, he kind of thought it was easy at times as well.
I think a lot more closer than last week. Last week was a lot more closer, should I say. But we weren't short of entertainment, and I think it was quite a good, especially with the battles in the midfield. Again, Johnny Suggs, I feel sorry for him. It could have been such a good race for him. A couple of other mentioners as well with the number 9 car, who said somehow keeping it out of the barrier, causing a spin on his own, but not causing that third caution. So we weren't short of things to talk about, but definitely a more controlled race, especially for the leaders as well.
Absolutely. And that's good to see. We're getting some good green flag runs here, and we'll see whether that changes at Daytona, of course, when we go for 50 laps around there. That could be a bit of a longer one, but we'll find out. Make sure you join us next week, same time, same place on the MotorMouth Broadcasting YouTube channel. We'll be back for the next round of the I2I Motorsports Craftsman Truck Series from Daytona International Speedway. That will be our last round of 2025 before the Christmas break. So make sure you join us then. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside Aidan Howard in the commentary box, and we'll see you again in 7 days' time at Daytona. Goodbye for now.